Hi again, Winter Park Construction. One last video. You did not ask for this in your document, but I thought it would be useful to go through the settings tab and just point out a few things for you guys, just to let you know that they're there. Maybe where some of the information came that I used in the demo set. But in any case, if you notice when we did owner contracts and so forth, that information is already pre-populated. So in the settings under general, this is where we would set up that basic information. So we put our owner in here along with the contact. We'd have you as the GC and your contact and the architect. So that's some basic settings that we do establish right away in the back end. So you get those things to come for free. There's things like rounding. We didn't talk about retention, nor did you ask about it, but you can apply both on the budget, the upstream owner's payment applications or the cost payment applications downstream. You can have those calculate each and every time that you do issue a payment application. So that's where this would happen. You can always override those as you're issuing the payment application. So if you're, say, mid-job and you want to drop the retention from 10 to 7.5 or 5 or what have you, you can do that in the payment application directly. But that's where this setting comes into play. You can add tax formulas, documents and attachments. Again, this is where I tell, any contacts or document packages that we generate, this is telling it where to store it over in the document management area. The other thing for customizing the tool in this tab name and order, this is where you would change any of the naming on the left side or within any of these modules that we worked in. So if you called cost maybe commitments, you would simply just type it in there to what you want to call it. You see it's updated it over here. Same with like PCO. If you call that cost event, you type in cost event here. So you can change these. You can turn these on and off by activating or deactivating them. So if there's, like, for instance, when we went through the change order process, we said, hey, maybe we want to turn off the change order request to order because we don't use that process. So I might deactivate that one, not even see it. On the budget side, I think we went through most of this. Budget segments, we can change the columns. And then there's some, other information down here. But again, document templates, once you get into budget, runs throughout budget, commitments, change orders. This is where you would take your templates that you provided to us and the one that we did demo in the supplier change order, upload those in, update the variables with our variables from build, and then your templates will populate with the information. Things like the default email messages, we can put those things in there. And then again, as you move through commitments and so forth, it's some of the same functionality. One thing I did want to point out on commitments and change orders, you'll notice there are workflows. So if you want to have internal approval workflows, say before issuing an owner change order or your supplier change order, you can do that here. And it's pretty straightforward. You just say create a workflow, and it could be a 1-step, 2-step, 3-step approval with conditions and so forth on them. So that's something you may want to play around with as well. And then lastly, just permissions. So as I mentioned a couple of times in the videos, everything is permission based, and this is where you would set those permissions. So you can set them up by role or by user or by company. And you can obviously tell them that they have no access. In some cases, they might be able to collaborate, like in the case of a subcontractor, when you want them to collaborate on approving or creating schedules of values, or when they're doing RFQs and things like that. So they would only see their own company, so they don't see obviously everything else. And then obviously things like budget and main contract, they don't even have access to, so they don't even see it. In any case, that's a brief overview of the settings area. Just thought that might be important for you. And again, as always, any questions you may have, please let us know. I'm happy to dive into more detail, as there's quite a bit of functionality within our cost management that we didn't get into, but happy to help.